A mass rally protesting free-to-air TV license decision. 9 people injured in an acid attack in Qingshaowan. And J.P. Morgan Chase to pay a $13 billion fine.
Good evening. A mass rally is being held at the central government offices to protest against the recent decision not to give Hong Kong Television Network a free-to-air TV license. HKTV supporters say 120,000 were at Tamar just a short while ago, while police put the figure at around 20,000 at the peak of the rally. As Stephanie Choi reports, protesters are unhappy with how the government has handled the decision-making process.
One of the groups involved in today's rally was Free TV Action, a movement initiated by the creators of a Facebook page rooting for Hong Kong Television Network. So, what's angering these netizens?
We don't want to just watch only one channel. You know, nowadays actually the channels and the TV program are so narrow.
I think that is Ricky Wong does not meet the commitment of the government or of the Beijing, so that the government do not give the free TV license to him.
A good portion of the pages have 1 million supporters gathered in Causeway Bay, wielding props and banners as they slammed the government and local television networks. At one point, they broke past a barrier set up by the police, occupying all 3 lanes of Hennessy Road. Most of the ralliers here today are wearing black to object to the government's blacking out of details as to why Hong Kong Television failed to get a free TV license. At the Central Ferry Pier, around 2,000 Hong Kong Television Network staff members gathered in another rally against the government.
They can have all the other means to make the way that easier for us to accept, but they didn't. They choose not to. They just announced it no. So it's not giving any respect to its citizens.
People will not trust the government because they are not giving a clear instruction and also giving a very unfair example of how they rule the Hong Kong.
Both groups of protesters called on the government to make its free TV licensing criteria plain and clear. But a small group of people think the government made the right move. 7 protesters showed their support for the Executive Council's decision, saying it did the right thing by staying confidential. They praised the government for having standards when giving out free TV licenses.
Well, we're going to cross over now to Stephanie in Tamar, where she's going to update us on the situation. Steph, the rally is still going strong, it seems.
Hi Tony, hi Sonia. As you can see here behind me, there are still quite a lot of people gathered here at the central government offices, even though the rally has ended. And organizers say that the protesters are staying behind at their own will and that they're going to stay here overnight. Now, Hong Kong Television Network employees also said that tomorrow night they're going to start screening their own TV programs to show that the people should have the power to decide what's shown on TV and not the government. And that's all I have for you right now. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, thanks very much, Stephanie. And that was Stephanie Choi reporting live from Tamar. Well, despite people taking to the streets today protesting against the Chief Executive in Council's decision not to grant a free-to-air TV licence to Hong Kong Television Network, government officials continue to insist the decision was fair and just. Evelyn Leung has more.
Why 2, not 3? That's a question people have been asking the government ever since the new free-to-air TV license decision was announced. Executive Council convener Lam Mun Kwong admitted today that the decision is quite controversial. But he said the government had already given its explanation.
I think it would be unfair to say that the government has not explained. The government, I think Mr. Gregory So has explained the criteria for making the decision. It's just that some people consider it not acceptable to them.
Secretary for Justice Rimsky Yoon, who's also an EXCO member, said the Council's confidentiality rules should not be changed because of a particular incident. No matter how many companies apply for a license, we carefully scrutinize and discuss every application and ask the applicants to respond to our questions, Yoon said. Another EXCO member, Bernard Chan, said he respects people's right to seek judicial review of EXCO's decision. The Commerce and Economic Development Bureau issued a statement today explaining why details of EXCO's decision-making process cannot be made public. The Bureau pointed out that an application for a judicial review was filed 4 days ago, so it is inappropriate to make public the details as it could affect the conduct of the legal proceedings concerned. It added that commercially sensitive information or even commercial secrets of the free-to-air TV license applicants was reviewed during EXCO meetings, and making the information public may cause damage to them and create legal disputes. The Bureau stressed there was no political consideration during EXCO's decision-making process, and there was no question of protecting existing interests either. The main aim of granting 2 free-to-air licenses is to increase competition in the market and allow it to develop in a healthy and orderly manner. Evelina Lang, TVB News.
One of the recently elected members of the Arts Development Council says EXCO's decision to grant only 2 additional free-to-air TV licenses will not substantially change Hong Kong's media scene. Lo Wai-Look also says the government has remained silent over the rejection of Hong Kong Television Network's application because it has no substantive reasons to back its decision. Joel De Silva reports.
In an exclusive interview with TVB, Lo Wai-Look joined a chorus of voices slamming EXCO's decision not to grant Hong Kong Television Network a free-to-air TV license. He believes the granting of 2 additional licenses will not result in more competition in the television market.
The fact is, this decision does not alter the media ecology. So because the Hong Kong TV is a major competitor of TVB, because it will produce drama. So this decision means that we will keep the pleasant media ecology. We will keep the status quo of the Hong Kong media.
Lo also said the government has remained silent over the reasons leading to EXCO's decision because it lacks a solid explanation.
The government not refusing to give us an explanation, what do you think that reflects?
It reflects the reason is not strong.
On a different note, Lo spoke of a need to regulate the activity of street performers in Hong Kong. Mong Kok's busy pedestrian zone has become the stage for many such artists, which has resulted in an increasing number of complaints. Lo says these artists add to Hong Kong's character, but rules should be put in place forbidding dangerous performances and setting where and at what time of the day they are allowed to take place. Joel De Silva, TVB News.
Total of 9 people were injured earlier today after they were hit by drain cleaning liquid during a dispute between 2 stall holders at the Chung Sha Wan market. Some of the victims suffered severe burns. Rachel Lung reports.
The incident took place at a fruit stall at the Po On Road wet market in Chung Sha Wan. Police returned to the scene to conduct their investigation. A fruit stall owner got into a quarrel with the owner of the next stall. Police say the 57-year-old stall owner then splashed drain cleaner at the other stall owner, injuring some shoppers in the process. Police have arrested the man for wounding. An initial investigation revealed that the 2 have clashed before on a number of occasions. All of those injured were taken to the hospital, including a police officer. The case has been transferred to the Regional Crime Unit for further investigation. Rachel Leung, TVB News.
Turning overseas now, U.S. banking giant JP Chase is set to pay a massive $13 billion fine to settle investigations into mortgage-backed securities it sold prior to the financial crisis of 2008. A tentative deal was reportedly reached with the U.S. Justice Department on Friday. But it doesn't let the firm off the hook, as it will still have to cooperate with an ongoing criminal probe into the bank's activities.
It's not been a great year for JP Chase.
Last month, it was fined nearly $1 billion for a series of disastrous trades by a former employee nicknamed the London Whale. Now the bank will potentially have to pay far more this time round, after it was reportedly fined $13 billion to settle an official probe into the quality of the mortgage-backed securities it sold prior to the global financial crisis of 2008. The US housing collapse and the subsequent meltdown of these related securities was a key factor in unleashing the financial tsunami which followed. Sources say US Attorney General Eric Holder, the Associate Attorney General, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, and the bank's general counsel negotiated the tentative settlement in a Friday night phone call. As part of the deal, the US Justice Department expects the bank to cooperate with the ongoing criminal probe into its issuance of mortgage-backed securities between 2005 and 2007. If the agreement is finalized, it would be the US government's highest-profile enforcement action related to the financial meltdown, a disaster which plunged America and much of the world into the deepest recession since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Mounting legal costs from all these proceedings pushed JP Morgan Chase to a rare loss in the third quarter this year. The bank reported it set aside $9.2 billion in the July-September quarter to cover a string of litigation stemming from the financial crisis and the London Whale trading debacle. Tens of thousands marched through the streets of Rome to oppose cuts to welfare programs and a shortage in low-income housing. Anti-austerity protesters in the Italian capital threw eggs and firecrackers at the finance ministry building during yesterday's rally. Police said 11 people were detained in scuffles with officers. There were moments of tension when demonstrators passed near the headquarters of the extreme right-wing group Casa Pound, but police intervened when a few bottles were thrown. And anti-austerity protesters also held rallies in Portugal, demonstrating against new wage and pension cuts, which were announced in the country's budget for 2014. The protesters demanded the resignation of the government and called on the country's highest court to reject the budget bill. The bill, approving the new round of cuts, was passed earlier in the week to meet the terms of Portugal's international bailout. Portugal's constitutional court has the power to block key spending cuts, especially those related to wages and pensions in the public sector.
And still ahead in our newscast, smart MTR single journey tickets go into use. A train crash in Argentina injures at least 80 people. And a Titanic violin sold for $1.4 million US.